Today, we're going to be talking with you about how to launch your digital products to make 5 figures or more. You want to stick around for that. We got a special guest. We're going to dive straight into it for you, the coach and consultants. Let's go. Yo, what up? It's your boy LV, and you are tuned into the LV TV podcast, where we talk all things content, clients, and cash flow for the profit and impact focused coaches and consultants. So if you're out there, you're thinking about, man, I really want to launch this digital product. I want to launch this digital course. If you want to put something online and you want to launch it right, we're talking with the man, the myth, the legend. Let me tell y'all before we even get into it, man, because there's certain people, when you meet them in person, you automatically know their vibe. And I think we met maybe 2-3 years ago. And it was actually, and we'll talk about that in a second, but when we first met, I was like, I can rock with this guy, man. Just humble, just a sweet spirit, man, and like somebody who really care about people and not about the bag. But we're going to talk to you about getting the bag. Mr. Word Taylor, what's up, my guy?
Let's get it, Rob. What up, LV? How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm good. Let me tell you, man, and I say this to all my guests sometimes offline, but online. But I want to appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you so much for that. I reached out to you. You was like, man, I'll make room for it, and that just makes a black man like me blush and be happy. So I appreciate you coming on. But real quick, I like to start with your Genesis story, right? When and where were you? What was life like when the light bulb came on and you was like, you know what? Let me help people launch their gift, their special talent, that superhero power that they have. Where were you? What was going on in your life when Words Taylor just said, you know what, this is what I'm here to do?
Yeah, I think, and not to go too far. I mean, we can go however far back you want to, but for me, we had just lost our home. I made a bad business decision and it cost us a lot, right? So I'm in the basement. My wife had I'm in a friend's basement at the time. My wife had bought me a video with ET, and it was that when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. And I listened to that joint, LV, and I was like, I can do anything, right? And so that night I actually ended up searching on YouTube, how do I make money online? And I found, I don't know if you're familiar with James Whitmore.
Yes.
Okay. So I found James Whitmore, took me down a whole funnel. I don't even know how my man got me to pull out my card, but I came wherever he took me. I was like, I'm buying wherever I'm going. I already knew I was buying. Like, that's how deep I was in it. And then inside of there, I met Kimra Luna, which she is incredible. So James Whitmore was good, but it was Kimra Luna when I saw her doing webinars and just the vibe, the connection that I was able to get. She was just talking about how she and her husband just got out of the basement and she had, been on food stamps and all this stuff. And I'm just like, wow. And then she said, I did a $60,000 launch and now I'm launching again. And I was like, babe, this is it. This is how I'm going to launch out my business. And from there, what ended up happening was I was like, I love this so much. I want to do this for other people. I shift my model from focusing on like, how can I just make money? But I started focusing on how can I help other people start to make money in their business? How can I transform other people's lives by helping them transform the people's lives that they're trying to help? And it hit, our first client was one of my best friends, Rashard. And my man was just like, we got this product, like, let's see what you can do with it. And boom, we made 6 figures in one day. And bro.
Time out. So let's keep it funky. How much was the product?
$1,100 was the product.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was, and now I'm still doing their launch. It's $3,500 now because we've just had so many students come out there that win. And they were, I said, look, let's price it $1,100. Like that's a nice little ticket price. It's still a no-brainer price. Let's do it. We had over 300 people on a webinar. And I even told them, I'm like, it's going to be sketchy. Out of 300 people, bro, we had 100 people, over 100 people purchase. And I never seen anything like that. And my launches were, I was doing like $3,000, $4,000. $5,000, and I was celebrating those.
Yeah.
But when I got in and dug in, this was the first time somebody just let me just explore every idea that I had, and we did the videos and all of that stuff, and boom, we just hit. And from then on, my next client after that was ET.
All right, so I was there when you first met ET. I want to tell a little bit of your story because I like to let the cat out of the bag. So we're sitting there at the high school, and my man Sean was like, "Come through. E gonna be there. E my guy. E, if you listening, you watch anybody on the team, what up?" And you were there, and you had your wife, and you was like, "Yo, we drove from the West Coast all the way to Michigan.
From Iowa. From Iowa, yeah.
9 hours." We call it the West Coast here. We the Midwest.
Okay.
Or would y'all call it the mountain region?
No, I mean just we're central, so.
All right. So you came from Iowa, 9+ hour drive. That's at least that's like 12 maybe. Anyway, long drive. Chop it up with E. He becomes a client, right? So I want to go back to your story. You were in the basement. What were you feeling on the inside, right? Because those who may be listening, maybe watching, they may be in that same place. What were you experiencing right before you found that E video, or after you found that E video? What was going on with you on the inside?
Yeah, so like, bro, I was embarrassed, just because. If you know me, like if you get to know me, like I'm very passionate about my family and being a provider, and my wife, so at the time I had my wife and my 5-month-old daughter, and we'd been married a couple years. And I specifically, when I was still the type of man, I asked my wife's father for her hand and everything. And I told him, I was like, yo, you will never have to worry about your wife ever again. I got her from this point on. And so to now lose all and see cars removed and all of that stuff, and we're in the basement, I have to go back to them, and we had to borrow funds from them, and so I was I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
I'm feeling very inadequate.
Yeah.
As a man, I'm not trusting my own decisions. And I'm just feeling like, man, I messed up. And it was my wife. She had never seen me like this. I'm a very high-spirited person.
Yeah.
So when she sees like we're going to get through this, I'm sitting up here like, oh my God, okay, well, I guess I'm going to just find a job, babe. When she hears that talk from me, that's when she comes across E's video. She sends it to me. And here's the one thing that was crucial, though. I apologized to her. I went to my wife and I asked for forgiveness. I said, I'm sorry about, getting us here. And, this was after watching E video. And I was like, I'm going to get us out of this. We're going to get out of this. And she literally at that point told me, like, baby, if we was in a cardboard box, I'm with you. And I know you're going to do everything that you possibly can to take care of your family. That right there, bro, that type of just faith and all of that stuff, it ignited me on a whole nother level. And I was like, she don't even know. She don't know, bro. So that right there was what I was feeling. And then I just started growing from there. Like I said, I did the Google, and I started investing into courses and all of that stuff. And my mindset, that was the biggest shift, my mindset. And to not let money dictate how we moved anymore. So something that E said is money is the lowest hanging fruit. Yet the money can dictate how we move and structure our lives. And I was like, I'm tired of that. I'm tired of money saying, no, you need to come here now. You need to do this. And I promised my wife, I was like, from this point on, money won't rule us, and money won't be the deciding factor in how we move. And that's how it's been since then.
Love it. So let's get into it, man. You're the launch strategist. Right. I saw you really, really getting busy with the 5-day content challenge not too long ago, right? Doing COVID. I saw your ads everywhere. I'm like, bro, not play. And all I did was just sit back. Now here, I didn't say anything to you. I didn't reach out. I just sit back and I just watched. And I'm like, oh, he cooking up, because what he's showing me is not the final product, right? But now you're really helping people launch these high ticket digital products. So let's talk about that, right? So let's first break that down. What is launching high ticket products for those who may or may not know? What you do.
So typically I want to focus on a product that's like $3,500 and up. But I mean, I tell people it's best to at least have $1,000 product. right? Just because you want the cart size, the margins to be worth the effort. All right, you can have a $20 product, but you're gonna do so much work that when you get 100 sales and you're like, I made $2,000, which is great. But when you add that up and see how much work you're putting in, you're like, I could have just did a job for 8 hours and all of that stuff. If you don't have the following like that,
Right.
But high ticket, or at least $1,000, it gives you more for your effort. The risk to reward is greater.
Right.
I'm all about the risk as long as the reward is greater than the risk. So if I do all of this effort and I get 100 sales on $1,000 ticket, I make $10,000 now, or $100,000 now. Now I'm like, oh, or even if I get 10 sales on $1,000 product and make $10,000, now I'm like, okay, well, shoot, yeah, I can do this every single week. So yeah, that high ticket is just means that there's a different standard that you're going to provide. There's more quality that you're going to do. You also have specific steps that you're laying out. You're solving a greater pain point for people.
Yeah.
So like, and this is something you talk about as well. So for me, I don't go for the irritating or bothersome problem. I go for the one that's the most painful.
Yes.
So irritating and bothersome mean, yeah, somebody may spend couple $100 with you because it's irritating them right now.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think about a painful problem, they're like, no, I want relief now, instantly. Yes. People will invest more to be relieved instantly. And so that's more why I focus on high ticket, because the sales are greater and people are in a position where they're ready to invest now.
And you get a better, I know a lot of people don't like to say this, but you get a better quality customer, better quality client. You don't get the chargebacks. You don't get the 8 million questions, and you're like, yo, if you want to be coached, that's something different. You know what I mean? You want some one-on-one there. So let's talk about this. Like, what should a coach and a consultant right now? And I'm thinking about a digital product, right? I'm thinking about it because I do the coaching, but I'm thinking about a $1,000 like mini course. And so what are I don't know if it's necessarily 3 things you can share, but what should we be focusing on as in preparation to launch our high ticket digital product, good or service?
Yeah, I think we should focus on listen, if you are listening to this, you all should first of all focus on everything LV is teaching. Because what I'm about to say is what he already teaches. So the first thing is understanding your audience very much. Like, the lost art, bruh, is doing market research.
Yes. Yes.
So you know what I'm saying? So like for me, I'm not one that is like, let me think about what I should say or what problem I should do or what I should dangle in front of them. I'm a person that will do a survey and survey my audience directly and ask them, what do you think is your biggest barrier between these 4 things? And I'm gonna pick 4 things that I know how to solve. Between these 4 things, what is your biggest barrier to you doing this in your business? So if my audience said, if I know they want to scale their business, what do you think is your biggest barrier to scaling your business? Amongst these 4 things, I don't have a way to get people in front of my product consistently. Okay, cool. If 70% of the people say, I don't know how to get people in my product consistently, in front of my product consistently, I know that's a pain. So now I'm starting my marketing. I'm starting to understand my client or my potential customer very well. Next question I may say is, which one of these when it comes to scaling your business, which one of these would be considered the biggest win? Is it, getting sales consistently or getting new leads consistently every week? Is it, getting your first sale? Is it making 6 figures? What is it? So people are like, I just want to make 6 figures in a year. So I'm just going to ask, it's normally about 10 questions. All of them are going to be multiple choice, except for one. The only one that's not multiple choice is the one where I ask, if everything went as expected and this problem could be solved right now with a step-by-step program, how much would you invest into it? How much would that be worth? And I let them type in there. But what we have to understand is, in that survey, I just got all of my copy. I know I know what pain you're in. I know what pleasure you're trying to get to. So now it's just a matter of me creating that bridge. I'm gonna get you from pain to pleasure. My 3 P's. Once I know the pain and the pleasure, it's my job to create the path.
Yes.
And so that's what I'm gonna focus on. That's the first thing. And I'm gonna survey them. I'm gonna interview. I'm gonna know everything about my audience member. How do they like to be casually interrupted online? I'm gonna know who they're following. All of those things, right? The second thing is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna invite you to a webinar. Once I understand these things, let's go to the webinar now.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to create a registration page, get them to register, get on the webinar, and I'm going to teach. And then I'm going to position my product. So I would say that's the third thing. The second thing would actually be you got to do the content.
Yes.
So establishing yourself online, right? Building that know, like, and trust. I always say you want to have a sense of attraction, awareness, and authority.
Yes.
Right. So you may start off where I say awareness is just, okay, I know you're there, but I'm not really checking for you. Right now, I'm just like, there's stages to this thing. So you may start putting out content and you're like, nobody's responded to me yet. Cool. They just know you're there.
Yeah.
Right now, you planting seeds, but you got to water the seeds. As you become consistent, now you get to the point where you start attracting people.
Yeah.
Attraction is the level where I'm actually seeking you out.
Yeah.
Like every time I get on Instagram right now, there's 4 people I for sure check. And, one of them are going to be Billie Jean for sure. Like, okay, let me see, Billie, what you doing out here?
Yep.
Tabitha Brown. Okay, Tabitha, what you got for me today? Tabitha. E.T. Okay, what you doing out here? And then I like my funny person is King Batch. So there's like we went through the awareness, we went through the attraction, and then the next level is you want to start building the authority up.
Yep.
So in the authority phase is like your word. I use your words as gold. Like I even use your words to make points. That's how much authority you have with me. So I may say like, yo, Billie Jean actually says, Billie Jean said you don't need to do an email list anymore. So that's when you know you have a level of authority when people say like, well, I was listening to E the other day.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So that gives me a chance, an opportunity when I know that I've created that second phase, which is that awareness, attraction, authority. Now I know my audience is willing to go on the journey with me. So I will literally, LV, after spending time researching, I don't care. I will spend the next 2 or 3 months just putting out content. I'll do little call to actions where you can join my email list as well. But I will do 3 months of just putting out content just to build that up. And then I'll start the third part, which is inviting people to my webinars. And I do that because I've just qualified you at a point where when I say I'm finally doing a webinar, you're like, yeah.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. So you already come like, okay, if he say anything, he's getting these numbers. And I got that from how James Whitmore did me. I'm on there. I didn't know anything about a funnel, but he says, at some point he was like, look, he was on day 3. And I just remember him saying, yo, and if you stay to day 5, I got something special. I got a special offer I want to do. So get prepared for that.
Yeah.
And it made me I've been watching you, bro, for the last 4 days, binging you.
Yeah.
So when I got to day 5, I didn't know what to expect, but I came there like, whatever it is. He got, only thing he can mess it up by saying something dumb, but whatever it is, I'm getting it. And so those are the 3 things that I would do. And then boom, your conversions are going to be higher. You're going to build your email list and your cell phone list on a whole nother level. Yeah. And then you're going to rock this thing out.
Man, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So what are some things that we should not be doing, right? You hear this person say this person says that, and you and I know when you behind the curtain, you can tell who full of it. Let's just be transparent, right? And that's okay because we're going to let them do what they do. We're not going to call them out. This is going to make us look better because we have integrity. So what are some of the things that you hear in your niche that folks should not be doing? Like, don't do this. It's going to kill your whole entire launch.
Yeah, the first thing I stay away from doing is I don't make products or sell things based off of my feelings. I do it based off of what the market said they would pay for. So that's the first thing. Like, you create a t-shirt and it may be dope to you, but what does the market say about it? You have to understand that everything is theory until it hits the market.
Come on.
The market will say, no, this is good. So I get you're trying to get the attention of these big people, but you don't understand. They still got to listen to the market.
Yes.
If they put out, if the album comes out and everybody says it's trash, then it's trash.
Yes.
I don't care how dope. Now, it may be golden for you. Okay, cool. You can put that up for yourself, but the market said it's not. So the first thing is, don't make decisions based off of just your own personal feelings. Make it based off of research and data and what does the market say. The second thing I always tell people is, again, like I already said, don't make decisions based off of money. If you're going to, like, if you're doing a product or something, you can, but I wouldn't say, I'm not going to focus on how much money I want to make first. I want to focus on how many lives I want to transform.
Yes.
That shifts your marketing, and it shifts how you position and your posture in front of people. So if I say, okay, I want to help 300 people do this action, cool. So what do I need to do in order to help 300 people? And then I'm going to look at, and if I help these 300 people, that means I have the opportunity to make this much.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So that's key for me in that. And the third thing I would say is, when you do market research, then you start to learn what to put in front of people. Most of the time, you're dangling in front of people something they don't want. So for me, like, I'm not a car person.
Yeah, no.
So like, you get in the car, like, I want Nissan Armada is my dream car, and I can get it now, but I'm a goal oriented person. So I'm like, yo, when we hit our first, maybe it's, I told my wife, when we hit our first $1 million month, I'm just go out and buy it cash, babe. That's my reward.
Yeah.
For doing something like that.
Yes, sir.
But I'm not. You see, it's a Nissan Armada. I'm not, like, impressed by, and no offense to anyone that does this. If your audience says, no, I like cars, then put the cars in the video. Right. But don't do it based off of you think that's what people want. Right. So again, that goes back to, like, I'm a dangle in front of you. You can get people to come and believe and trust you if you know what their pleasure is. For me, I get more impressed when somebody is saying, like, look, I'm going to teach you how to build your legacy. I'm going to teach you how to build your trust. And when they, like, Jamal 95, man, my man had his crest for his family, and he talked about how his kids are going to be set up and all of that stuff. Oh, I was mesmerized, bro.
Yeah.
When he talked about how his kids won't want for anything, he was dangling the right thing in front of me. And at that point, it's like, where do you need me to go? What do you need me to do?
Yeah.
So I would say, don't just do stuff. Don't just, regurgitate what you see because you think that's the hot thing or that's what everybody wants. You got to understand who you're trying to attract. And I don't think people market based on who they really want to attract or based on the audience. And it's more so based off of, okay, I saw this person do it, so I'm going to do a video in front of a car. And it may not be necessary.
Monkey see, monkey do marketing is what I call it, right? We see somebody else do it, so I might as well do it. I mean, look, they got more followers than me. Look, like they making more money. That's why I asked you earlier, right? And not to be on some front street type stuff. And when people say how much they make on a launch or how much they make on a digital course, well, how much was the product? Okay, how much money did you actually put in? And then what you find out from a lot of these folks, and again, we're not on airing nobody out. We about giving integrity. Don't say you had a 6-figure launch when you spent 7 figures.
Oh yeah, that's because you're in the hole then.
You see what I'm saying? But you'll be surprised when you come behind the curtain how many of these so-called big wigs. You'll be like, but how much did you spend? Right? And they don't mind. And some of them. Let me just pause before I go down a rabbit hole. But I just want to share that with people as you're listening. Be very, very careful of the monkey see, monkey do marketing, because because it works well for them, that's their market research. You can't funnel hack. You can't hack anything. You have to put in the work if you want a sustainable. Now, you may do a 6-figure launch because you hacked their 6-figure launch. But after a while, the
Yeah.
market gets sophisticated, right?
Yep.
The sophistication of the market say, oh, you just copy so-and-so.
Yep. Yeah. And that's what I don't want. I don't want to be like, oh, this is just like, no, I don't want that. I
No.
don't want you to be like, it's just like, so like who was successfully able to copy D Nice and have the same amount of success?
Nobody.
No one.
Nobody.
No one did it. And that's what it means to like, I get my man utilize. Wait, hold on. Everybody's at home right now. I'm a DJ. I got the equipment. I'm doing. And then everybody start trying to mimic that. And they're like, oh, they trying to pull the D Nice. But
everybody.
Exactly. So, but you didn't do it. His was based off of data, research, understanding the times right now, and filling a gap and a need. Most of the times what happens with us is we allow other people to cloud our judgment or comparing ourselves. And if you just focus on being you can create some dope ideas like he did. There was nobody to copy or mimic at that point. He was
nobody.
Like, oh, here's a gap. I'm going to fill the gap.
They're at home. They would like to be in a club. I would like to be in a club. I like to DJ. Let me DJ. Oh, by the way, there's this thing called live stream.
Come on. And imagine if you yourself were to take the opportunity and like, yo, I'm going to just be you. I'm going to just be me. And imagine the amount of thought and the ideas that will come from there. When I first started doing the red glasses, I literally, even my mechanic made jokes.
Yeah.
My mechanic was like, oh, those are your daughter's glasses and all that stuff. And my guy was like, the red, okay, that's just, that's too much. And I was doing the and all of this stuff. We're like, what are you doing? That actually made me want to do it more because I understood now that I was finally coming into myself. I only got offended when I was trying to be someone else. So when I was trying to do the motivation and all, and it was like, you start to sound like ET. I'm like, you know, ET, what are you talking about? This is me. But I was. Yeah. So when you get called out, then that's when the offense comes. But when they were making jokes about the red glasses and the and all of that stuff, I actually felt more proud because this was the first time I was myself and I didn't have to defend that. I don't defend being me. Like there's no defense to that. Like I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm finally me. Yeah. And you finally you when you don't feel the need to defend yourself or explain or disclaim or anything. Man. Like I know that I'm 100% me now. So that's the key.
Bruh, you just gave them the most powerful marketing advice you could ever give. And I hope it didn't go over nobody's head. Authenticity wins the race. So, man, we love it. We thank you so much for joining us here. I'm not going to keep you because I know you got 8 million things to do. So do I. So do our listeners right there. They're getting at it. Sure. They're like, how do I make impact? How do I grow my profit? So we appreciate you, everyone, listening up until this point. But real quick, how can people connect with you? What do you got going on that you want people to rock with you?
Yeah, so you can just on Instagram at Words Taylor. You can also visit wordstaylor.com. But at any point in time, you can always go to wordstaylor.com and I'll have either a webinar going or some free thing that you can take part in. And, I'm just going to serve.
Man, there it is, man. If you guys are, and I say this to everybody who I bring on the show because I believe in them personally and their quality, but like y'all rock with my guy, right? Dude is I mean, I didn't want to say it because I didn't know how comfortable he was, but he's who he is who he is. Talking about his wife, with his family. It ain't no front. Like, this is who I met in person, and this is who you're meeting if you're just meeting for the first time here on this podcast. So make sure you give him a follow. Check him out, man. And I only like to rock with people who are real and genuine. Like, I don't care how much money you make and how successful, how many followers you have who can potentially listen to this episode. I want people here that I know will give you value. And if they wasn't doing what they were doing and you met them in real life, you'll have someone that you would want to stay connected with. So that's what it is with Mr. Words Taylor here. I appreciate you joining us, man, on the LVTV podcast. Guys, make sure you subscribe to this podcast and keep listening as we continue to help you build and grow your profits and your impact. Until the next episode, appreciate y'all. I'm about to do it. Did I get it right? Did I get it right? You know what I'm saying? Don't mess with me.
Yeah, you got the grunt and everything, bro. Perfect. That's perfect.
I'll win it, baby. Until next time, we'll holla at y'all.